It's time for Dueling Mock Drafts here on Peacock and Williamson Part 2. This time we are working together. This isn't a duel. This is teamwork. Matt Williamson controlling the AFC teams. I will be GM of the NFC teams, going through the top 33 picks in the 2024 NFL Draft. Trades potentially on tap as well between these two GMs, if I know them like I think I do right now.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look at the NFL on the field and in the front office with elite breakdowns to next-level analysis and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Get those questions in for this week's mailbag on Twitter, or you can drop a question in the YouTube comments. We appreciate everybody jumping in here every day with us. All the everydayers out there. Your team every day is what we do on the Locked On Podcast Network. Of course, you can find us on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcast. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we appreciate you for it. This episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off at Game Time. All right, Matt, here we go. It's mock draft time, and let's get into this thing. I've got the NFC teams. You've got the AFC teams. I think I know where you might be going with some picks. You might have a feeling of where I'm going with some of these picks, and I think we might have an opportunity to consummate some trades, and I've got some offers ready for you at certain spots. But I think at the beginning of this thing, Matt, it can go pretty quick at number one, and I'm just going to plug in Caleb Williams to the Chicago Bears since I'm controlling these NFC teams, and that is a done deal. That is in. And for those of you watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see the list of us doing this using the PFF Mock Draft Simulator. So we appreciate the folks at PFF that make this sim that will help us visualize this. And as the Washington Commanders get on the clock, Matt, I don't know if Jaden Daniels is my second player in this draft. Pick one is easy. Pick two gets a little bit more difficult, but I don't know how you feel about where Washington is, where this draft class is. But, man, Jaden Daniels feels like almost a slam dunk as Caleb Williams at one these days.
It sure seems that way. And it doesn't matter if he's my second quarterback or not. He isn't. He's my third, but that doesn't really matter for this. Well, I think we're trying to make this as realistic as possible with a lot of Williamson and Peacock, sprinkled in, of course. But it just Vegas odds are telling us that you don't make much money if you put a buck down on Daniels to go second. I mean, they're telling us that's the pick, basically. So I think we should just kind of pencil him in too.
I'm going to put him in there, but it does change things, I think, because not every team is going to love every quarterback. And I think the Daniels fit to Washington is so good that I like him at 2 more than I like him at 3, or more than I like him maybe at some other spots. So I love Jaden Daniels at 2 or 6 for the Giants, and I love some other quarterbacks at some other spots, but I do like Jaden Daniels here. So going with the high upside Heisman Trophy winner, and PFF has him down quite a ways, actually. Did I pass him? I can't even find him.
They do have him very low for some reason. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is and every team is going to have a different draft order. So if Washington likes Drake May or JJ McCarthy, I think that will really shake up this draft.
Yeah.
But right now, we're going.
Doesn't feel that way. Yeah.
It doesn't feel that way.
So that puts me on the clock here with the Patriots, right?
You can have more fun in this mock draft, by the way. You have some more interesting teams in the AFC at the top of the draft than I do in the NFC.
Your first two aren't much fun, but I will say I don't have the Browns. I don't get Houston, and we're going to give you Carolina at the end too. So your time's coming, and you have some early picks here. So you know me, I don't really want to put a super highly drafted quarterback in a bad nest, and I think this is probably the worst nest going. And if I can get multiple future picks and first galore, it's nest building season and it's quarterback season next year. Whoa.
We've got, I don't have a sounder for a phone call, but there's a team that I'm in control of as an NFC GM, Matt, that is making a call up to number 3 and the New England Patriots with a trade offer. It's the Minnesota Vikings. And I know it'll be pricey.
Sure.
Would the Patriots be interested in the Minnesota Vikings first 2 round pick, the the 2 first-round picks to come up to number 3, 11 and 23.
Yes, and then some, but yes.
What's the then some? A second? A future second?
Future first, and I'll send you our third from either this year or next year. Your choice.
So the number 3 overall pick and a 3rd round pick to be decided that won't be spent in this mock draft.
Right.
For 3 first round picks, 11, 23, and the Minnesota Vikings first round pick next year.
You in on that? Yep.
That offer's on the table. Is it done?
It's done on my end.
All right. That's it. There we go.
And my thought process is let's build the nest now for New England. And then next year at this time, New England plays a brutal schedule. I don't think they're going to be very good. They could be picking in this neighborhood again. And the team I just made a deal with is probably going to play a rookie quarterback. So maybe I have pick 2 and 8 again. I mean, that's quarterback great spots, You know
what's amazing here, and I put it as a 2025 3rd round pick coming back. The PFF trade calculator here in this PFF simulator has it as a 52% chance to be accepted,
okay.
which is that's really close to 50% on that value. So I think
pretty
we nailed
even
it.
Deal.
And so this is, I really think, how it's going to go between the Minnesota Vikings. If the Vikings want to get up, they have to start calling early. They can't just sit back and wait. And if they can make
they
it
might
happen,
love May, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's a good spot for May to land. I'm not telling you who to pick. I mean, that's your team.
Well, that is my pick.
Okay, good.
I'm going with Drake May here, and the Minnesota Vikings now on the clock at number 3. So I get to make the first 3 picks as NFC GMs, and I'm going with Drake May over JJ McCarthy here. And I do think there's a possibility that the Patriots say love May. Maybe Daniels they don't think is as good of a fit. So if May goes 2, maybe it's even more likely that the Patriots move out of this pick. And then maybe it's still JJ McCarthy here. And then you've got Daniels 2 at 6. So in this, with Daniels going 2, I think May's the next guy up, and he's the pick for the Minnesota Vikings at number 3. And I was ready to make some calls at number 4 and 5 as well, but you have to make calls at 3 first. And if the Patriots are willing to go, then that's where the action is going to happen.
Yeah, 4 first-round picks over the next 2 years to me is more valuable than Drake May at this point.
And for the Patriots, they hope that they're in this position that the Chicago Bears are in this draft.
Absolutely.
Year. Yeah.
Hope the Vikings lose a whole lot of games.
All right, here we go. I get to make another pick.
Yep.
I might trade up to number 5 in the Chargers so I can just make all the picks in the I'll bow out and let you finish the second half. This is Marvin Harrison Jr. This is a quite easy selection as well. So now we have an AFC team on the clock, and there might be offers here for you at number 5 with the Los Angeles Chargers, Matt. But the first 4 picks are in. Caleb Williams to the Bears, Jaden Daniels to the Commanders. The Minnesota Vikings move up to number 3 to take Drake May, and then Marvin Harrison Jr. goes to the Cardinals at pick number 4, which brings us to Matt Williamson and GM of the Los Angeles Chargers at 5.
So full transparency, I would love to draft Latham here, especially with Harrison off the board, but I know I could get him later. Alt is going to go ahead of him. There's still 2 receivers I adore. So if a team was begging to get ahead of the Giants for McCarthy, I would listen. Now, I'm also in charge, coincidentally, of Denver and Vegas. I think that's a bad move for those teams. So I am not calling the Chargers. Plus, they're in our division.
That's the thing is, if I was in charge of those teams, I'd be pressing the sounder, the phone call sounder. Yeah. But the Chargers aren't going to help their division opponent get a potential star quarterback.
So I'm going to stick and pick, I assume. I mean, maybe the Giants want to flip-flop with us just so no one gets ahead of us, but we don't need to get into those weeds. Give me Neighbors. I think right tackle is not as big a need as receiver right now.
All right. Malik Neighbors to the Chargers. And I was looking down the list, trying to think if there's a team, and I think it'd probably be maybe the Giants. Maybe the Chargers could get the Giants to come up and get, spend 1 pick. And for me, as much as I like Alt, as much as I like Odunze and some other prospects here, Joe Shane, the GM, the head coach, they didn't draft Daniel Jones, and he's on a contract that could make him basically a stopgap, and they get out of that deal after 1 year. So it's JJ McCarthy here at number 6 to the New York Giants. And
along those, you're going to get a receiver in the second round you're going to like.
There's good receivers in this draft.
Absolutely. Yeah, or day 2 at least.
And if not, I think it probably still. And again, I like Odunze, but if you are the Giants and if you don't love McCarthy, but say Denver or the Raiders are on the horn with you, then maybe you're just moving back to 12 or 13 too. So to me, it's still a quarterback in this spot here in the top 6 picks.
I don't want to spend too much time at the top, but the Giants don't have their 2nd round pick, but they do have Seattle's from the Leonard Williams trade. But the one move I'd consider if I were the Giants, if those top 3 quarterbacks went off the board, is, hey, Arizona, you just want to go down to 6? You'll end up with Harrison or Neighbors. We just want to make sure we get ahead of whoever might jump us at 5.
Yeah, quick leapfrog there. And at the same time, Arizona could still be in business at 4 with Denver and the Raiders, knowing that they can't get to 5.
Yeah,
right. It's too late. So there could still be more action if the trade at 3 happens.
So I'm on the board here at the Titans, and
hold on. We're gonna tease this one because there's nobody has any idea what you're gonna do here at number 7. So next, we'll finish the rest of the top 10 in the first half of the first round, and all the way through 33 picks here in our dueling. It's actually a team building mock draft here. AFC versus NFC on Peacock and Williamson next. Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. And a lot of us spend our lives wishing we had more time. And the question always becomes, well, time for what? If time was unlimited, how would you use it? What's the first thing you'd do if you had an extra hour in your day? The best way to squeeze that special thing into your schedule is to know what's important and make it a priority. Therapy can help you find what matters to you so you can do more of it and worry less about what you're missing out on, and make sure you are active in participating in that life you want to lead. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist. Super easy. You can switch therapists at any time, no additional charge. Find your social sweet spot with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/lockedon today. Get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Give us a shock, Matt. Pick number 7. The Tennessee Titans are on the clock. What direction do you go here?
It's the most boring pick ever. Every mock in the country has alt going here, and that is my choice. However, I think this is a sneaky trade down spot for this reason. I think Odunze is awesome, and I think Neighbors is awesome. And one of those guys could be there. Alt is there, as well. And frankly, why did I bring Daddy with me to Tennessee to coach up Alt? I want to give him a guy like Mims 10 picks later and make Dad earn his money. You know what I mean? Like, okay. I mean, I have a great O-line coach. I don't need, NFL ready O-lineman as much. I need defense. I need as many picks as I can get. If I could move to like 18 and get a future first, I might need that for a quarterback and end up with like a Mims and say, hey, Dad, turn this guy into the best right tackle in the league. That's what I brought you for, What have you done for me lately? But give me Alt here.
This at pick 8 could be a spot that's worthy.
I hate that spot for you.
Yeah, and so I'd be listening to offers. Could the Patriots double back?
Right. Somebody would want a Dunze there, even if it's the Jets to move up 2 spots, or
or even just the Falcons saying, you know what, he's the number 1 player on the board. We're going to go for it. Brock Bowers, Odunze. Could they make that move? I am not going to here.
If I don't get Jacksonville move all the way up to 8 for Odunze. I'm just trying to look at teams that might be.
Yeah, I mean, could Buffalo do a Julio Jones move and go all the way up with the team who made the move for Julio Jones back in the day and go from 28 to 8? Right? Is it that's probably too much and too expensive for where the Buffalo Bills are right now. So I'm going defense with this pick. I'm not going to go with best player available, but I'm going to swing for the fences, and I think the fit is there, which is why I end up going Dallas Turner at pick number 8. And I've kind of started there, then gone away from that pick, and then come back to this pick now because of how how this coaching staff uses their defensive personnel and odd fronts, and they can use that stand-up speed type of a rusher. And so I like the fit and, the potential if all these guys hit their ceiling, what Dallas Turner could be with his athletic ability. coming off the edge for the Falcons. That's what I'm going with number 8 here. Dallas Turner, edge from Alabama.
Again, I don't envy you. I don't want to be the team in the real world that takes the first defensive player in this particular draft, but that would have been my selection as well. Play a lot of good weather. You play in a dome. Use your speed, you know?
And this becomes a pretty easy pick. I think Rome Odunze is an awesome fit for current and future of what the Chicago Bears are doing there.
I hear you. So my brain process here for the Jets is there's a lot of good offensive linemen, of course. But the one that stands out for me for them is Fatanu from Washington. And the reason is he would be a guard today, kind of like Vera Tucker. And when one of my tackles gets hurt, he'll probably be a tackle for the rest of his life because I think he's a tackle. But I'm going Brock Bowers. I mean, I know that's chalky too, but Aaron Rodgers and Brock Bowers could do beautiful things together.
I love it. Brock Bowers going number 10 to the New York Jets. Just to give you a refresher on the audio side, those of you on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, by the way. Hit the notification bell, the thumbs up, and all that. You guys can see it on the screen. Caleb Williams 1, Jaden Daniels 2. We got a trade. Vikings going to getting Drake May number 3, Marvin Harrison 4, Malik Neighbors to the Chargers at 5, J.J. McCarthy 6 to the New York Giants, Joe Alt number 7 to the Titans, Dallas Turner, edge to the Falcons at 8, Rome Odunze, wide receiver to the Bears at 9, and Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia, to the New York Jets at pick number 10. And now after the Patriots moved down from 3 to 11, Matt, you were on the clock with the Pats at 11.
Yeah. And again, I adore Latham, but I think the pick here is Fashanu from Penn State. And I know the left-right tackle thing isn't as strong as it used to be, but a pure pass protection left tackle that might have been the 3rd pick in the draft last year, I am fine with that as a building block. I'm quite happy with it.
I think teams care more about the left-right thing than we do. And I think the reason is not because, okay, so-and-so player logged this many snaps on the left side, other guy played this many snaps on the right side. It's the reason the guys that were on the right in college.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not that easy to say, okay, now you're a left tackle in the NFL after being a right tackle in college. And a lot of the times, you know, Latham, Mims, Fuaga, there's a reason those guys were on the right side in college.
100%. So that adds up. So I'm up again, right? I got a couple here in a row.
Denver Broncos, then the Las Vegas Raiders at 12 and 13, yes.
Neither one of these teams I am going to take a quarterback, but if someone was begging me to get up, maybe I would take a quarterback in the 20s if I were these guys. But I'm not dealing with that at 12 and 13. Bowers would have been my pick for Denver, and I really like that fit, just as Sean Payton, Bowers versatility. I say this all the time, and I apologize, Broncos fans, but I'd rather be the GM of any team in the league than Denver. I think they're a disaster. I'm taking Quinion Mitchell, put him opposite Surtain, try to build a strength somewhere.
Yeah, the Broncos, just where they're sitting at 12 is just off from where they need to be. I could see them. And Sean Payton's an aggressive guy. Could they go up and get J.J. McCarthy in this scenario? Could they go up and get
I think he's playing with house money. He's just going to do anything he wants. And that ownership's not going to stop him. Yeah. I'll give you 5 future picks or whatever. Take them. I don't care. I'll just retire tomorrow and would be a bazillionaire.
The Raiders are in a good spot just to go best player available at 13. You know, if they're not able to go get a quarterback's a need, but they're kind of like the Patriots where it's like, you know, move back as much as move up for the Raiders.
I think the right side of their offensive line is horrific. I think DJ Fluker is penciled in as the right guard. I didn't even know he's still in the league.
Yeah.
So I am going to take my boy Latham at 13 and be very happy about it.
J.C. Latham out of Alabama, big old offensive tackle. He says he can be a left tackle, but certainly
I'm not going to ask him to.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be.
We don't need to go down that road.
So we're on an offensive tackle run because that's the biggest need for the Saints here at number 14. And you passed on Troy Fautanu. I'm going Troy Fautanu here. So versatile. He can play left side, right side. He can play interior. I like him at tackle. I think he can stick at left tackle because even though he's short, it actually helps him from a leverage perspective because he has long enough arms to stick at tackle and he's got the feet for it. So I'm going Fautanu here. And I like someone that can play the left side for the Saints. So Fashanu, Fautanu, those are my picks, maybe more than the J.C. Lathams of the world and the Fuagas of the world at 14.
Makes perfect sense. I mean, an O lineman of some sort And Fatanu is a really fun watch. So I get the Colts. I'm not happy that the corner Mitchell fell because I think he's perfect for our cover 3 scheme, exactly what we're looking for. So I'm going to pivot and maybe shock some people a little bit and go with Brian Thomas Jr. Everyone's going to load the box against Taylor and Richardson, and Pierce hasn't quite worked out as that field stretcher. And if Thomas takes a little time, I can live with it. But go routes in that dome with Richardson throwing bombs against 8-man boxes, I like it.
And they love athletes. So
yeah,
the pick at 15 is going to be a height, weight, speed specimen. And Brian Thomas is that. Absolutely.
Yeah, he fits. So if I can't get Mitchell, I'm going to go the other side of the ball.
Too early to go interior offensive line for me here with the Seahawks, although it should never shock you. You know, this could be like a Jackson Powers Johnson pick. This could be Fuaga, who could play inside, could play outside. This could go a lot of directions.
Would you have taken Fatanu, though? I mean, you got the Washington connection.
I think, the Washington connection. I think it's just a really good fit there. I think he would be worth the pick. I could see just a number of players here, but I'm going to stay on the West Coast and go Latu. Now,
love it.
And he's totally worth the 16th pick in the draft. He's the most ready to play now and make an impact as an edge rusher. You know, and so it just depends if the medicals check out with teams. And if it does, then boom, 16 to the Seahawks. It's easy.
Yeah, it's a good one. I mean, they need pass rush. New defensive coordinator. He's going to want to change things up. Makes all the sense in the world. Jacksonville has a lot of needs. I mean, besides like quarterback, running back, and tight end, the whole offense could use something. But I think a second corner is in play here. I want to go Alabama with Arnold. I mean, they have one good corner. A second one will go a long way. And then I'll probably attack the offense like crazy in day 2.
Terry Arnold's one of those players that it feels really safe. Athletically, he doesn't blow you away. But how well he played, how early at Alabama, and Kool-Aid's kind of similar. But there is a story I just heard from Daniel Jeremiah, who was interviewing prospects, and he was putting on some tape, watching tape with Terry and Arnold. And, you know, when you watch the all 22 tape, the first card is just the down and distance and the play clock and all that.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the one angle of the play, then the other angle of the play. Well, before they even put the play on, he saw the down and distance. He knew the play already and knew the first down and second down plays that led to the third down play they were about to watch. And they hadn't even shown the card of the play yet on the screen, you know? So he's one of those types of guys. And so I think teams are going to love him when they get him on the whiteboard and get him in meetings, which is why he's going to go really high in the draft, even though he might not blow you away with, you know, testing and times and stuff like that.
And what that tells me is maybe he won't turn into Deion Sanders, but he probably won't bust either. You know, like he's probably going to be a good player, you know, and the Jags need those.
Absolutely. Let's pause right there before you make your pick at 18 with the Cincinnati Bengals, and then we'll run through the second half here of round 1, plus a bonus pick at 33 in our dueling / teamwork AFC versus NFC mock draft. This episode of Peacock Williamson is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app and get a special offer right now for our listeners with promo code LOCKEDONNFL. And Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. Killer last-minute deals on Game Time. You get all-in prices, no funny business with the ticket prices. You know you're getting a great deal before you check out. Views from your seat and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes all the guesswork out of buying tickets. I love utilizing Game Time to go catch a baseball game. I'm 10 minutes across the bridge into San Francisco. Any night, as I got a free night, I can jam into the city, go catch a San Francisco Giants baseball game. Couple of taps on the Game Time app, and I'm right there and get a great deal on seats, even up to an hour after first pitch. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. Baseball, football, concerts, theater events, comedy shows, whatever it is, you can find it. Terms apply. Again, that is promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Here we go. Cincinnati Bengals are on the clock at pick number 18 in our mock draft.
So everyone had them taking a tackle early in the process, and then they signed Trent Brown, albeit it's only a 1-year deal. So you could put Fuaga at guard, and then he bumps out the right tackle. That makes some sense. I probably would have taken Brian Thomas here and then said, hey, New England, give us that early second-round pick for Higgins and swap those two out and lose a little bit of draft capital, but get younger and cheaper. But that's off the board. I can't quite do that with A.D. Mitchell. So I'm going to go D tackle. They did not replace DJ Reader. I'm going to take Byron Murphy. He's different than Reader, of course, but he has some Geno Atkins to him, and they did all right with him.
Byron Murphy, tackle out of Texas, going to the Cincinnati Bengals at 18. I love Murphy. I was thinking about him for the Los Angeles Rams at pick 19 here. Johnny Newton, I love as well. I think he's a first-round guy all day long. I just don't want to do that to a young man trying to come in and replace, a legend in Aaron Donald. I don't like that. So I'm going to go to the other side of the ball, and I'm going to get one of the biggest butt kickers in this draft on the offensive line and go to Talise Fuaga, who could fit a lot of different places for the Rams there at pick number 19 on their offensive line.
And you just broke my Steelers' heart to no end. I think you did that on purpose. I think that might have factored in your decision. You weren't worried about Newton's feelings trying to replace Aaron Donald. You just wanted to kill Williamson here. I do have a fallback plan, but it definitely would have been Fuaga if available. And frankly, I know that they're very high on him.
Would the Steelers move up after, say, let's say they like 4 tackles after the third goes? Would they be looking to get up? Are they really tackle focused, do you think, in this draft?
They did the exact same thing last year. They went up to get Broderick Jones 2 or 3 spots, so maybe. I mean, this front office is different than the one I grew up with Kevin Colbert, possibly, but they have so many needs at this point. I almost feel like trading back would make more sense and taking Mims, like if it fell this way, I'd be listening to offers, but I'm going to stick and pick and hope to get O-line on day 2 as well as wide receiver. This is going to be Cooper DeJean, and he was in for a visit 2 days ago. They really need to add 2 defensive backs. They need a slot. They need another corner/safety. And I think he kills 2 birds with 1 stone. That maybe he isn't an outside turn and run corner, but he's your slot immediately. He would do a lot of safety stuff with Minka. Then you have Porter, Minka, and DeJean as some building blocks in the secondary. And then I'm just going offense from here on out.
I love it. Cooper DeJean to the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 20. That brings us to the Dolphins at 21.
You would think O-line here, and Powers Johnson or the Duke Center would make some sense too, but I'm going to go with Jared Verse. I think he fits their Chubb type mold. Phillips is coming off an injury. Chubb's really expensive. I thought about D tackle here as well. I think it's going to be a lineman of some sort.
Chubb is actually a pretty decent comp for Jared Verse, with kind of speed to power guy, a little tight, not necessarily beat you around the corner type of a pass rusher. I like that. That brings us to the Philadelphia Eagles at pick number 22, and there's definitely some good options for the Eagles here. I'm trying to think of what the big home, they like to make the big home run type swings. I'm trying to think of what that might be. And I think I'm just going to go with straight speed. And this is kind of a chalky pick. I see a lot of Nate Wiggins, but I think it's because it fits so well. So Nate Wiggins, corner out of Clemson, to the Eagles at 22.
I like it. I don't know that he's a great fit for Vic Fangio, but he is an Eagles type pick, edge corner, value position. A little birdie told me they like DeJean and tackles a lot in this draft. But Wiggins, to me, I've mocked the Eagles over and over, to be very honest with you.
And I was thinking wide receiver too. They just re-upped. The thing about a first wide receiver is eventually you got to pay him a whole bunch of money. So unless it's a succession plan for saying goodbye to one of the guys that are paying a lot of money right now, they just need some nice role players there at wide receivers. I don't know if first round is the right spot for them to do that. Maybe
you can get a cheap slot in the 3rd round or 4th round, and
someone you eventually don't have to pay a lot of money to, even if he hits.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is the Patriots again, right?
Yep.
I have a left tackle. I would consider going crazy and putting Barton here and just putting him somewhere on the interior line, but someone's got to catch the ball, and I think A.D. Mitchell is worth the risk at this point.
A.D. Mitchell, wide receiver out of Texas, going 23 to the New England Patriots. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what the Patriots' MO is going to be. There's a lot of old guards still there.
Yeah.
But it's a new group. It's a new GM in town. Are they going to draft similar to how they used to? that's a fascinating team to see how they do things and how they operate versus how they used to.
I bet their draft process is a lot different because they were very unique with Rutgers safeties, and you know what I mean? Like, they didn't draft like anybody else, and I think they'll get back to being a little more normal.
Similarly to the Eagles, making home run moves, the Dallas Cowboys are that way too. And they tend to shock people, do some interesting things in the draft. They've actually done really well. The Jones family's done good drafting early for the most part. So, like, who's the big home run swing here for this team? I could see Amarius Mims. I could see Johnny Newton. I could see this thing going a lot of ways, but I'm gonna go down the list here because I know he's not ranked as high on the PFF draft board. But I'm going to give Dak some help in maybe his final season. And this feels like a very Cowboys pick. And that is the fastest man in the draft, Xavier Worthy. We're going back Texas wide receivers here. A.D. Mitchell, Xavier Worthy at 24 to the Dallas Cowboys.
Interesting. They could use it. I mean, do we know that CD Lamb's going to get the big extension and all that? Probably. But this could be the Devontae Smith Brown situation.
Very different player than CD Lamb. And, Jerry Jones, can he resist going out and get, and the reason I wanted to do this, I wanted to get Worthy in the first round of this mock. He's going to go higher than people expect. I see him in the second round a lot. He ran 4.21 at the combine. He was already a second round prospect coming into this. It's not like he came out of nowhere and just ran fast. He was kind of that borderline first, second round guy on tape already. Everyone knew he was fast, and he's going to go high.
I think he's a better football player than people give him credit for. I'm starting to come around on Worthy.
The guy that just went ahead of him, A.D. Mitchell. He was the leading receiver, not Mitchell at Texas.
Yeah. And he would often line up as the X online and try to beat man coverage and do more traditional stuff too. It's a weird offense, though.
And with the new kickoff rules, that 4.21 speed, he did take a 75-yard punt return back this year.
I'm with you that he's going to go at least in this neighborhood. Maybe he goes even like 12th overall, and nobody,
right. He's the one
crazy
He's the one that everyone falls off their seat when he gets drafted. I could absolutely see that, and it's going to happen. Who's it going to be? Where is it going to be? Is the question.
You got a bunch here coming up.
Oh yeah, I was waiting for you to do something, but it's me. It's the Green Bay Packers at pick number 25. I was gonna go with Cooper DeJean if he was here. That was kind of my main thing, but I'm going to go to the offensive line, and it's really hard for me right now to go with the high floor or the high ceiling in Barton or Mims. And I think they're both fantastic fits. I love Zach Tom and what he's done for that team, and versatile, but he could be a Pro Bowl center. So I'm going to go Amarius Mims, the tackle, at 25.
They've done a great job of developing offensive linemen. Usually mid-round guys. Give them a guy like Mims, they may really develop him.
But I can see them going interior and then just leaving Zach Tom at tackle because he's done a good job there too.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I always see Barton and DeJean going to the Green Bay. You're up some more here, man.
Yeah, pick number 26, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Could go a lot of directions here for the Bucs. The best player available for me right now is probably Johnny Newton. Graham Barton, I like him a lot. You could go a number of ways. I'm going to go to the interior of the offensive line, though, with Jackson Powers Johnson. He could be a Pro Bowl center, a Pro Bowl guard, could start at guard, become a center. And that's my pick here at 26.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I could consider them. Maybe they take a receiver, maybe they take an edge. But with both those interior linemen there, that'd be pretty tempting.
I didn't want to force an edge. And I don't know how many teams are willing to take an interior offensive lineman that high. But Jackson Powers Johnson, I mean, he's a dude.
He's got great tape.
Yeah. I'm up again. Here we go.
Arizona, one more.
Arizona Cardinals with their second pick in the first round. I'm going best player available here. It's Johnny Newton. They need anything, anywhere.
Love it. I mean, that's a team built on defensive linemen with their Eagles roots. The Bills thought they might get Worthy, and I was torn between the two, but I will be very happy taking McConkey here. He's a lot different than, I think he gets a lot of targets from Josh Allen.
A lot different player. Yeah. So there's still a lot of flavors of wide receivers here late in round one and getting into round two for sure. This one's a little too chalky, but I love it. And this is the right spot for Kool-Aid McKinstry, 29 to the Detroit Lions.
The Ravens were certainly looking at him too with their Ozzie Newsome ties, and I like it. I like it quite a bit. I'm a little bit in a tough spot here with the Ravens. They have more needs than you think. I don't love their receivers. Their O-line got hit hard. I was hoping Mims would be here to develop. I'm not quite ready to go. I will. I'm going to go Tyler Guyton here, and they can bring him along sort of slow. Stanley is hard to trust on the left tackle. Falele is a problem. I also thought about Graham Barton, though.
Yeah, and he just feels like a Ravens type of a pick here. They they sit back at the end of the round and find someone on the offensive or defensive front that fits from a physical perspective, and they coach those guys up.
Yeah, I think that works for him.
This is Graham Barton out of Duke for the San Francisco 49ers at 31. Yeah. He could maybe compete early at guard. Flexibility. The 49ers could use future starters at a number of spots. Maybe he does stick at tackle. And I think Kyle Shanahan wouldn't put a rookie at center because they have to make a lot of calls in his system. But I think future center here after he gets his feet wet in year one, somewhere on that offensive line. Graham Barton out of Duke to the 49ers at 31.
Okay, I think it's a little early here for the Chiefs to take a receiver. I also think that's not as big a need as people seem to think. Marquise Brown's a very good player, although Rashee Rice could be in some serious hot water as we speak. I would have loved Guyton here, but I'm going to settle for Suamatia.
Good pick. He's a player I like a lot, and more likely to stick at tackle than some of the other offensive linemen, which is why I would definitely consider him at 31 for the 49ers. I think it might surprise some people how high he goes because he actually profiles as someone who's going to stick at tackle versus Barton's and Jordan Morgan's and some of those players. And he's got starting tackle physical traits to work with for teams as well.
So you got one more pick here, the first pick in the second round. So I'm not speaking for you, but the receivers got hit pretty hard. Yeah, a center would have been really nice to firm up that O-line. What if one of my teams, Denver or the Raiders, called you up on Thursday night to try to get a quarterback?
Oh, I love that. Yes,
I would think you'd eat that up. Yeah,
I think they would have to do that. And there's a number of receivers, and they would probably still be, you move down 10 spots and you're drafting from the same group of receivers. You probably would have, and maybe one or two of them are gone, but you still have Xavier Legette. And that's all I was going to do at pick 33 is who's the best receiver available. Is it Legette? We had, McConkey went off the board. I think he would have been a nice fit there. I like McConkey for the Patriots earlier in round 2 as well. But yeah, if someone comes up and gets Penix, Bo Nix, you got to move down if you are the Panthers there. But just looking at, so let's give them a player here. So they moved down even. So yeah, here we go. Our second trade. So they moved down.
Tell me what the Raiders need to give you to get Penix.
We'll wrap it up. I don't know what the Raiders have offhand, but
how about a future second?
Future second is plenty. Let's go.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense for both
to go up 10 spots. It would be either a third this year or a second next year, essentially.
We'll give you a 2 next year. It might be a really high pick.
Right. I like that. And so Penix goes 33 to the Raiders. And the Panthers then at some point draft. It's between Legette and Franklin. I like Legette more. I like Legette. Malachi Corley's an interesting player, but they don't need that. That's not the style of player they need, especially after who they drafted last year. Xavier Worthy already gone. Ricky Pearsall would be an interesting one. Roman Wilson would be an interesting one. Keon Coleman would be super interesting as well. I could see all of them. I would like a little bit more of a separator than what I'm seeing from some of these, but I don't
think you go too wrong on any of them.
Keon Coleman. I'm going to go Keon Coleman there
at
whatever pick that ends up being, 40 or whatever it is. Yeah.
Nice.
There you go. All right. That is the dueling / teamwork / AFC versus NFC mock draft for Peacock and Williamson. Went a little overtime, but that's okay. Had a lot of fun here.
Houston and Cleveland, you're out of luck. You're too far down to figure out what you're getting. Right.
Houston's too many good things are happening for Houston. We're not going to give them a player here.
Yeah, I can see like Cooper, one of the linebackers, or
the top linebacker off the board. I love that for them there.
I think that makes sense.
Ryan's his linebacker in the second round. I think it's a great fit. Absolutely. There you go. Okay, Cooper to the and sorry, Browns fans.
Yeah, you're too far down the road.
What?
Take a running back or something.
All right. Thanks for making us your first listen. Make sure you check out the mock draft special dropping Wednesday right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It'll be on the Peacock and Williamson feed, also on Locked On Sports Today, 24/7 streaming sports channel on YouTube and Amazon Fire TV. Matt and I back tomorrow, mailbag style. Peacock and Williamson.